All right, hey everybody, welcome to Trending. Today is Thursday, April 7th. It's about 9:35, and we got some fun topics to talk about today. Joe, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. And how are you?
I'm doing good.
Nice.
I wanted to give another kind of precursor to let people know what's coming today.
Okay, that's good.
So today is a little bit of a sport-heavy day.
Yes.
So for sports fans, stay tuned. If you're not a sports fan, we'll try to keep it kind of brief and kind of high level so you can stay with us.
Okay.
I don't think we'll get too in the weeds.
Okay.
But we can't not talk about sports today.
We're going to do our best.
So we'll talk about a couple sports things. There's one kind of pop culture thing I'm really interested to get your take on.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap up today with a palate cleanser of today's ridiculous Twitter nonsense.
Okay.
Just another one of those fun, silly Twitter polls that is going on around today.
All right.
So that's what we got. 4 things. We'll try to go kind of quickly.
Okay.
I think we got some fun things to talk about.
All right.
So
let's do it.
okay, Joe, you're wearing a Brewers jersey today. Why are you wearing a Brewers jersey?
It's opening day, man. Baseball's here. It was threatened not to happen
Yes.
because of all the owners versus players union, but they worked out a deal. We're going to have a full season in today's opening day. There's already been a couple of rainouts, so you know it's for real when there's some rainouts. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be a good year. I get to go to see the Brewers here in a few weeks, so I'm really thrilled about that. So I'm just excited about baseball, man. I don't know. Are you a baseball fan? Yes, no?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So I'm glad the season's happening. I'm glad baseball exists as like a cultural thing. I just don't get it, man.
Yeah.
Like, my wife Tilly gives me a hard time because she thinks football is very boring because there's so much standing around time. Baseball is nothing but standing around.
Okay.
So I want to give you some time. Convince me that baseball is worth watching.
Well, there was a Wall Street Journal investigative article about the actual amount of activity time in popular sports.
Okay.
And believe it or not, there's actually more activity when you chain it all together in baseball than there is pro football.
Does that include pitching?
Yes.
Okay. Well, but how many? What percentage of pitches are hit?
Probably very minimal, but that's part of the wonder of it all. Is like these guys can really hurl it. It's hard to hit. I mean, hitting a fastball in professional baseball is probably one of the hardest things to do in all the sports. If you like math, it's very math heavy, stat heavy. I just think what's nice about baseball is that you can have something else going on. Like you could be working or cleaning the house or whatever.
It's a secondary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I like going to the games too. I try to go to one a year. It's kind of cool now that my kids are old enough to tolerate a whole game. It used to be like we took them too young, and so as long as they had food in their hands, it was fine. Once like he didn't want to buy stadium price food anymore. Yeah. It's like, well, it's time for us to go.
Right.
Right. But no, I grew up playing baseball, so I admire the game. I just think it's fun.
Every year there's these rumors that the MLB is going to try something to try to make it move faster. Like, because I think more and more, as the culture gets younger, more and more people don't tend to have the patience to put up with a full baseball game.
Right.
Do you think they'll ever do that? Will they ever shorten the time that players can go in between, or shorten? I don't know. There's all these bases or whatever that might change.
They've been working on the pitch clock. They've been doing it in the minors, and I think that would be kind of cool to have in the pros. They have limited amount of mound visits, which slows the game down.
Yep.
In extra innings, the permanent rule that they have just they put in a couple of years ago just to kind of make the games move faster. Someone does start at second base in extra innings, so that the last batter is on second base to start the inning. And so that adds a little bit of an extra like skill and strategy. Okay, do we bunt the guy to third? Do you go ahead and walk the guy so you got force outs everywhere? So they are trying some things, but there are baseball purists out there who are just not going to let that stuff happen.
Yeah. Because it's so stat driven, right? Like if you start doing that, it starts throwing off the stats of history
that's right.
We love to talk about and compare.
Yes,
so.
yeah. Anyways, so I'm looking forward to it. It is a long season. Obviously, it does kind of heat up in September.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And the wind surge here in town is a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Riverfront Stadium is amazing.
It is very nice.
And so if you're just minorly or just kind of surfacey interested in baseball, you got to go check out the wind surge this summer because it's a fun time with the family.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Yeah. All
right. Well, continuing the theme of very boring sports, the other sport that's trending right now is the Masters.
Oh, nice.
Golf. The Masters starts today.
Nice.
So if you like boring sports, today is your day.
Yeah.
So the one kind of cool thing about the Masters, it starts today. Tiger Woods is getting a lot of attention. He had that horrible car wreck. That was just a year ago.
Yeah.
Pretty banged up legs. They weren't totally sure he'd make a full recovery.
Yeah.
He has made a full recovery. People are saying in practices he's been looking really good. So I think he's got a chance to win.
Right.
Even as he's getting a little bit older and he had this horrible accident. So all eyes will be on Tiger Woods. But other than that, I don't know anything else about the Masters. Do you already follow one?
Yeah, Masters is great. So it's a tournament everybody looks forward to. I actually got to go to the Masters one year. So when I lived in Atlanta, our church had some tickets, and so I got to go to the practice round, which is really less formal than the actual tournament itself. But I mean, people come from all over the world. Yep. It is a beautiful golf course. You can't take a phone or camera in. They really are hard on that. So you just go enjoy it. A pimento cheese sandwich is like $1.50. I mean, it was amazing. But I heard, another pastor that I worked with, he got to play around there at Augusta.
Okay.
And he asked the caddy, tell me something that not a lot of people know about the course, because I just love these stories. I guess that they're, one of the things they do in preparation for the tournament is that they send people out and they have to remove as many copperhead snakes as they can, because there's a lot of Georgia pines and Georgia pine straw, and the copperheads around there, they kind of live in the rough there. And so, but people are walking all over the course, and so in order to have those people on, so can you imagine being an intern? Yes, I got a job at Augusta National. Yeah. What's my job? Oh, I got to go kill snakes all day. What did you do yesterday? Kill snakes. What's today? Kill more snakes. I mean, so it's kind of an interesting thing, but it's a beautiful golf course. Yeah. It's always intriguing on the last day. And so I think church attendance is historically down on Sundays because people like to watch the final round to see what's going to happen. So I'm looking forward to checking out a little bit. But it does kind of work like Novocaine on a Sunday afternoon. You put that on, and next thing you know, you're out cold on the couch.
Just put on some baseball, then put on some golf. You're out for a long time.
All right. Easy, friends. Some of our viewers might really love these sports, man.
Just giving you a hard time.
And here you are.
Just giving you a hard time. We'll wait a few months, and then, I guess basketball's going to be heating up soon, so professional basketball. Mm-hmm. Anyways, all right, golf and baseball.
That's right.
Exciting day for people who like those things.
That's right. Okay,
so here's the one I want to spend some time. I'm curious to get your take on. Have you heard about the show, The Ultimatum?
No.
Okay, so it's a new Netflix show. It's kind of coming off the heels of Love is Blind.
Okay.
Another Netflix show. Okay. So Netflix is doing this string of reality romance kind of Bachelor-esque shows. Love is Blind kind of took off, and so The Ultimatum is kind of the next evolution of that. The premise of the show, I read a little bit this morning. I might be getting some of the details wrong, but basically they're bringing in, I think, 6 or 7 couples, and it's basically the one of the taglines is marry or move on.
Oh, wow.
So it's either get married or split up. But how they get to that is they basically encourage these 6 couples to intermingle.
Okay.
So the couple comes in, another couple comes in, and they basically, this guy spends time with this girl, this guy spends time with this girl, and they intentionally set themselves up to see if they stray or not.
Oh my.
That's basically the gist of the show.
Okay.
And then I guess if you make it, you get married. If not, you split up.
Okay.
But I won't get into too many details, but they set things up to get saucy intentionally, right?
Right.
That's why the show exists, and that's why they're hoping people watch, because it's just that.
Right.
So that doesn't line up with biblical marriage very well. So here I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this. Is it does that offend you? Are you worried about this? Do we just add fuel to the fire when we're outraged about it?
Oh my.
How do we need to take this seriously? Do we need to be upset that this is becoming a cultural phenomenon? Or do we just shrug it off as the silliness that it is? Mm-hmm. Or as we see kind of relationships take this race to the bottom on TV. How does that affect culture? Just what are your thoughts on that kind of show that seems to be pretty popular right now?
Oh my goodness, you give me a lot to
I know, lots to think about.
Yeah. So I think it probably depends on your personality. I mean, how did we get here? We got here because other shows akin to it have been wildly successful, and so they put things like this together. I think if you raise kids, you're probably a little more concerned than maybe someone who is not, because, I mean, you're not around your kids all the time. And at some point, they start watching TV without you in the room. And so you're thinking, man, are my kids going to take this in? How's that going to affect the way they view relationships? So on and so forth. But at the end of the day, I don't know, sometimes sometimes you wonder the refereeing that we do sometimes as being Christians in culture, it doesn't really amount to much. Do people say, boy, I never really thought of that perspective before,
this isn't a healthy view of marriage? Really?
Yeah. Because I do think that I do think that people have made up their own mind. I do think the older we get, it's harder to tell one adult to another adult, hey, you should think the way that I do,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, obviously, it happens. People are still impressionable all the way for the rest of our lives. And so I guess my follow-up question would be, do we want to be effective? And if we want to be effective, maybe there's a better way to engage the topic than just posting something on Facebook and saying, don't watch this, boycott Netflix, cancel your subscription. Yeah, I just don't think that goes very far. So what can we say, though? Can we provide a better alternative? I think that we can. I think one of the things that I like about the Old Testament book, the Song of Solomon, the Song of Songs, is that the refrain in it is like, don't arouse or awaken love until it desires. And so there's like this biblical wisdom of love doesn't flower overnight. Maybe it does in some occasions, like people love at first sight type of a thing. But I do think that love, according to the biblical idea, takes some time.
Yeah.
There's not just romantic feelings, but also friendship and other types of companionship that we have to take into account for a long-lasting relationship. And so I think that's the only maybe thing about these shows that's kind of surprising that people take interest in is I think we see it as like, this isn't real life. Like love really does take time, and here they are, they're wanting to put people in a pressure cooker of time pressure and other threats out there. And we think that being threatened that our love will be secure. It's not really. It's I don't know. I feel like a good friendship takes about 1,000 boring conversations. Think about a love relationship that lasts. I mean, it takes maybe 5,000 boring conversations, and knowing all each other's quirks and stuff like that. And you just don't get to that. Yeah. That's probably why The Bachelor reality series, it's got a batting average of maybe 100. It's like,
right.
Oh yeah, we should have seen this coming. These people haven't really spent a lot of normal time with one another, and so when they finally do, they're like, yeah, I'm not quite into this as I think I thought it would be. So anyways, I don't think that we have to try to play referee. I think the only way that you can vote on this to make a difference is not watch it. Watch something else instead of boycotting Netflix. Someone said there's an other cot is better than a boycott.
I like
so
that.
Instead of if there's a movie that we really don't like as Christians, don't not go to the theater that weekend. Go see something else and push something else in the box office above the thing. And so you can say no, in the court of public opinion, this was more desirable than this.
Yeah.
Same way on Netflix. So log on to Netflix, watch something else. Allow the Netflix executives to say, yeah, maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
Right.
Maybe we need to start making more documentaries.
Yeah. Right.
I have no idea. So those are just my thoughts that come to my mind. Obviously, we're not getting to the bottom of the topic, but yeah. What do you think?
I think I haven't heard the other cot thing before, but I like that a lot too. And just a reminder, I think it's helpful to remind ourselves that the reason why these shows gain eyeballs is because they're different. This is clearly not how relationships work. This is not real life.
Right.
And so when they don't work out, of course they don't, because that's not how relationships are designed to happen. And I read a quote this morning, and I think you mentioned this in one of your sermons, that sometimes reality executives have trouble creating enough controversy to make things interesting, so they kind of spark the flame to make things happen. Yeah. And there are some quotes that it sounds like that kind of happened with this show.
Right.
There wasn't really a whole lot going on, so they had to spice things up to make it more interesting. So none of this is real, and of course the relationships aren't going to last. And so just as enticing as it is to think about the kind of, I don't know, I don't really think that way, but I understand how some people are drawn by the romanticism of all of it. But it's clearly all staged. None of it's real. It's not going to work. What does work is the harder thing, have 1,000 boring conversations and staying with the same person for a long time. Those are the things that actually work. Those are the time-tested things how relationships actually thrive. Yeah. None of this silly reality TV nonsense.
Right.
So.
And how we engage with it, I think, is yet another thing to focus on. Sometimes I think it would be good if before we post anything on social media, we ask ourselves this question: is this the most noble thing that I think of in life? And so if you feel like the most noble thing is to critique a TV show that you're not going to watch,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, think about posting something else. Maybe something about your family.
Yeah.
Maybe about something they actually admire.
Mm-hmm.
That might actually be a better way to fill our social feeds instead of like the yelling back and forth and the antagonizing and the pointing of fingers.
Yeah.
Maybe we can speak a better word in that regard,
Mm-hmm.
and not be just we anticipate a backlash from the Christian community. Okay, like
Yeah.
they anticipate that. They
Right.
might even bake that into the algebra of how to get this thing out in the open.
Right.
Because maybe in their regards, all press is good press, and so they know they're going to get millions of angry social media folks posting this stuff, and it's going to actually aid their progress.
Right.
So think about, is this the most noble thing I think of in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, then post it. If not, just let it slide.
Yeah.
I'm a let it slide.
Yes.
Omelet. I'm gonna let.
Nice.
Have you seen that shirt where it's like an omelet sliding out of a pan? It's like I'm gonna let it slide.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I like it.
Anyways.
One thing that's interesting with Facebook Memories, it shows all all things you posted years ago. I've just noticed I post way less frequently now than I did years ago.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just getting older. I think it doesn't help to post things about this kind of thing just to be a part of the conversation. Usually,
Right.
it just stirs up trouble.
It
So I
does.
think I've noticed that you personally don't post very often. I think you're wise. You don't need to chime into every.
I haven't always been, man.
I know,
But like that
but-
time hop was so refreshing and transformative because it does like show you what you post, and you're like, oh my goodness, why did I post that?
Yes.
Like, what was the value of any of that?
I know.
And
Yes.
so I don't know. I usually just post stuff about family. I will post another thing, like a thing I feel like it's important from time to time. Usually like a song or
Yeah.
like that I'm listening on Spotify, whatever. But I do think that this thing was created, the internet was created to be an empathy machine and not something where we get more and more angry at one another and tear each other down more easily than we used to. And
Yeah.
so I do think that it's important for us to have like a bit of a discernment check.
Yeah.
Is this really a noble thing to post?
Yeah. It's very important.
A lot of times the answer should be no.
Yes. Agreed.
All right.
All right, we got to keep things moving.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. Speaking of viable things to post about,
Here we go.
there are two things trending on Twitter this morning.
Okay.
Otter Pops and Freeze Pops
Okay.
are both trending this morning.
Okay.
So again, I don't know how these things start. Someone posted, "What do you call these?" And so you know what I'm talking about, right? These popsicles.
Oh yeah.
What did you grow up calling these?
I called them freezies.
Freezies. Okay.
Yeah. What did you call them?
See, I don't think we had a name for them. Like popsicle. I guess freeze pop. I think we just called them a bunch of generic names for a frozen ice thing. I don't know.
I don't think I ever saw the marketing for them. Like they were always like out of the shopping cart into the freezer.
It's just something
And there's
that-
like no marketing
It's just,
on the thing itself.
exactly.
Yes.
It's the thing that everyone's mom had in the freezer.
That's right.
Like
That's
none
right.
of us knew what they were.
That's right.
But so I guess this people are going back and forth. No, they're Otter Pops. No, they're Freeze Pops or Freezies. Is that what you said?
Freezies.
I've never heard Freezies.
Oh well.
But that is today's Twitter nonsense as people are arguing with it. I guess so. Otter Pops is a brand. So it's
Okay.
kind of like Kleenex tissue, whatever.
Right.
So Otter Pop is that kind of the big brand, but I guess generically they're called Freeze Pops.
Well, down below in the comments, like tell us what you called them.
What did you call them?
Because I'm
Have you ever
just
heard
like,
of a Freezy?
There's like dozens more names for these.
Probably.
things. All I know is that most of the time, the rappers did not get into the trash can, and so we got in trouble a lot for.
And the bottom was just the juice, and it was not good. You have to
Yeah.
hurry and eat it while it's still icy, or then it's just the syrupy.
I know, I kind of
nastiness.
finished that off, man. Besides the grape, grape was always kind of sad, but everything else is all right. Oh, the days, the
good old
nostalgia,
days.
man.
The good old days and the things that we talk about because of crazy Twitter nonsense.
That's right. It's a
Love
slow
it.
day on Twitter.
I guess so. All right, man. Well, it's been kind of a longer episode. We should wrap it up. We'd love to have you join us on Sunday. You're preaching. It's Palm
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Easter's coming up. Lots of good things going on around here. So we'd love to have you join us
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
And have a great weekend. We'll see you next week, if not on Sunday.
All right, play ball.
Go watch some boring sports. See you guys.
Bye.